This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
It's a goal! What a goal! It's absolutely world class from Marcus Tunde!
Pressman against Jones. Get in!
You will get a bit of anything of that against Chisel.
Is there time for a winner? Is there? Josh Windus! For Wednesday week!
Hola, ¿cómo está? Me llamo Señor Fuge. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. In a period of the season where nothing much is usually talked about, we've had our first friendly of the season and our chairman has come under fire once again for his pricing strategy. Is it a case of the chairman using the funds to fund his own mistake of the past, or is it the structure in place to ensure the future of the club and not end up like some of our championship rivals? Join me tonight with Hollie, Blair and Jon as we talk about the upcoming season and the shallow pockets, perceived shallow pockets of the people of S6. Now, if anybody is watching us on YouTube now, Hollie is normally quite gone in general and doesn't really have much colour in her cheeks, but she's on the back of a 3-day drinking session, and to be fair, I'm pretty proud of you, H.
I'm not proud of myself. I've got the shakes.
So what? I mean, bear in mind you've been away to Scarborough and went to see Pulp, and then there was a man at karaoke in a snazzy shirt. I mean, tell us about the Jaeger bomb pricing strategy. Well, you know what I mean. There must have been some consumed. I've seen those Jaeger bomb eyes before.
Well, 2 Jaeger bombs for a £5 or 3 for £6. So you've got to get 6, haven't you? That's the law of the Jaeger bomb. Yeah. And then in the Pulp gig, it was about £6 for a little can of lager, and I queued up for quite a while to get them, so I thought I'll get 6 of them as well, and I just stacked them on top of each other. That is the way to do it.
Oh, Hollie lager hands. I absolutely love it. So, right. So I tell you what, let's, I'm not going to be much to talk about. Annoyingly, I try and rotate everybody on this podcast, and the 2 that went to York aren't here. But from what Stevie was saying, Jon, I don't think there was much to write home about, and it's not like we scored a screamer, is it?
Oh, no, not at all. It was it's one of those where I was thinking to myself, it's almost come round too quick for me, this pre-season malarkey. After that Wembley thing, it's almost like we're normally begging for the season to start, but I were kind of like wanting to just kind of still just be content with the fact that we would, got the Wembley memory and just ride it out and, celebrate it some more and rewatch the YouTube videos. And before you know it, you jump in a car and watching TikTok videos of people going up to York to watch Wednesday play York. And again, I never, pre-season doesn't do it for me. It's just all about fitness, isn't it? Fitness and tactics and bedding players in and all that. So, but I think Stevie said it was like 25 minutes into the game and he heard somebody behind him shout, "No changes, does it?" Come on, it's a friendly. What's up with you? But yeah, goal-wise, dreadful, weren't it? Just a really bad back pass, which Windass latched onto and poked into the empty net, didn't it? But it's just fitness, in it. Just get the fitness levels up. Don't take it too serious. And just one of them days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's just literally for the lads to get a run out. I mean, Blair, is there anything you want to add? I mean, have you even seen their goal? I don't think I have.
No,
Me neither.
I haven't actually seen it. It looked like on the camera angle, but whoever was playing centre half, I honestly don't know anyone who played second half. They're all young. They were all really young, like 17 years old.
All the kids had the sponsor-free shirt on, which I thought was absolutely stunning. I thought it looked lovely.
Oh yeah.
Let's hope that goes up for a raffle or charity.
Yeah. I'll snap that up. I'll snap that up. Now, bear in mind, speaking of raffle and charity, we did put a raffle up to win the shirt this season. It's still up. The end date is actually the 28th of this month, so it's going to be a very long running raffle. My sincerest apologies. That was a bit of an admin error, and I must admit, we're up to a decent amount of money, and we're going to go and we're going to raffle off a shirt, and then we're going to raffle off something else straight after. So if you want to be in it, all the money will be then going to charity afterwards. Hollie, how are you feeling? You've got those. I don't know what you'd call them. Like painted on eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
I am deteriorating fast.
All right. Make sure you consume lots of fluids, and I don't suppose you have anything else to add about York. I don't think anybody else is really that interested.
No. Just at least we had a manager by the time we played it. Friendly.
Well, yeah, that's
4-3-3.
We played 4-3-3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's exciting to me. Do we have the players for it? Have we got any signings? No, we haven't. It's a weird time to be doing a podcast about it. This is why I take the summer off, ladies and gents. This is why I don't bother. However, in the news last week, after recording last week, we did announce a manager, but also Carlton Palmer was in the news with the boss. John, I don't suppose you saw much of this story, did you?
I actually tuned in live to the YouTube press conference. I thought, unveiling of the new manager. I thought, heard some good things about this guy from his time at Watford. Chansiri sat with him. He's obviously getting him a ringing endorsement, or at least I thought that's what was going to happen. And 3 minutes in, he's saying he ain't got best CV. Saying who's that guy slagging us off? Leighton. Who? Leighton. Carlton Palmer. And just went on an absolute massive tirade again about Palmer and trying to damage the club. And like new managers sat there and thinking, "What the hell's going on here?" Like, I thought you'd come here to talk about football, And he actually
kept himself with some.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He kept himself with some stoic dignity, didn't he? There, Chisco. He was very much like, "Well, all right, what we doing here, lads? This is mental." And then, but there's a bit, John, that you're referencing where he kind of goes. He kind of says something. He really tries, like Chansiri tries to infer that Carlton's got some kind of mental illness or something like that, and he kind of laughs, looks at Chisco, who come on, back me up here on the laugh. Chisco still sat there with his stoic dignity, just staring at photo, and he goes, "Hey," and then moves back to where he was. Didn't land that one, DC. Now, Blair, did you hear Carlton on TalkSport the following day?
I've seen clips of him. So on the Twitter clips, they like to do the little sound bites.
Yeah.
And he's well up for it. Simon Jordan was obviously protecting the chairman because he's in the chairman's what would you call it? Chairman's side of things, isn't he?
Fraternity.
He hates players, doesn't he? He loves chairman, hates players, doesn't he, Simon? And Carlton's like saying, I'll go for it. I'm sticking up for my mate and stuff. And then Simon Jordan said something like, "Yeah, but what if your mate's like not saying the truth or whatever?" And it was all a bit embarrassing, really, from a club point of view, weren't it? Like, why we got ex players from 25 years ago talking about as manager being like not sacked but left mutually, and then the chairman coming out and saying he wanted 4 times his salary. It's just all a bit mental, and it's unheard of, isn't it?
But like, there's a weird bit in the Hollie where there's no real context. Like, for example, right? Let's say that he got a year extension on 100 grand, right? And he wanted 2 years, 400 grand, 3 years, 400 grand, which is 4 times as much in Chansiri's language. Like, you know what I mean? There was no context, and like you kind of just want to go, lads, you're both wrong. Stop it.
I feel like it's happened now, hasn't it? So I don't know why Chansiri. It was the weirdest new manager unveiling of all time. Why did Chansiri answer the first question by saying the new manager's crap and then talk about Carlton Palmer for 20 minutes while the new manager sat there? And he's like, you don't know who Carlton Palmer is. He didn't give a crap about that. At no point were he like, look, this is the new man for the job or anything. He would just like, and Carlton Palmer said this about me. And it's just ridiculous. And they've announced another press conference because all the press conferences are going so well at the moment with some kids. So now he's just going to have a Carlton Palmer rant at some kids.
So go on then. Tell us about this, H, because I must admit I've been working today. I didn't really get a chance to read the article, and it sounds really intriguing.
Well, it says something like they want to give young supporters a voice, and you send in your questions, which is always a classic. In it, don't just blurt them out. They've got to be vetted. But also, there isn't like a lower age limit on it, but it does say under 21. So it's not actually kids, it's adults as well. I don't know what. But you can send in your questions and then they're going to ask him about it. And he's obviously just going to not answer and talk about Carlton Palmer again. It's very strange.
Almost like a press conference for a boxing match or something, weren't it, at times? It's just like, just wanting to say that Carlton Palmer, if he wants to stand in front of me like a man or a lady, I'm like, what's he doing? What's he on about?
What did annoy me was that the first question the journalist asked was about Darren Moore. I mean, the Chancellor could have shut that down and said, not talk about that anymore. It's done.
And how can he possibly have anything else to say? He was there for about 6 days at that fan.
But then he went, he just went on a 15-minute tirade, didn't he? It's like, and then, to fair play to Cisco, his first thing was directly to, I think it might have been the Sky Sports journalist who asked a question about Darren Moore, who basically just said, that's all in the past now. We can't look at the past at all anymore.
Oh, when he started banging table.
Yeah, I thought that was like quite impressive. Yeah.
We're sold.
Yeah, I was as well. I'm full Spanish now.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm toying with getting a Spanish flag for the backdrop on this podcast now. I think it'll add to the ambiance.
Tell you what, I brought a San Miguel yesterday. I'd never buy that. I thought that's a Spanish flag.
Spanish.
No
I just like
Carl.
Spanish things. I just like Spanish things now. You know what I mean? Speaking of Spain, I've got myself my tickets to go to Real Murcia next week. I'm going to go to Murcia for 22 hours or something. That's going to be fun, and I'm already planning because I've got a guy at work, right? His dad's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan. He listens to this show, right? And so it before the Wembley game, he went, my dad's got me ticket to Wembley. It looks like I've got to be a Wednesday fan now. I went, oh God, mate! Like he's just like 23. You know what I mean? He's like. He tried to follow Arsenal. You know, they're just depressing. So his dad's made him a Wednesday fan. So we dragged him out all around Wembley on the day. And I was sat there arbitrarily booking flights. And I said, do you want the day off to go to Real Murcia? And he went, what? I went, well, you can have Tuesday off and Wednesday, but only if you go to the Wednesday game. And he went, yeah, I'll go. So he's going. So I bullied him with his time off. But sorry, to bring this back to the Chansiri thing. What the timing of it was really weird. Like we discussed this last time that we had the fans forum. We'd had the dismissal of Darren Moore and the mutual consent and all the rest of it. Then the statement a week later, and then he brought it up again, and it's just. There is an element of who is in charge of watching what this man says in the press. He must be an absolute journalist dream because he's got a 9-minute answer about paper towels on the cop. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody slagging him off in the media is going to be another 24 minutes. But and this is what it should be. It should be like, Darren, what about the paper towels? Thank you very much. I'll pass it on. All right, sick. Do you know what I mean? That's it. It doesn't need any more. Like, what about Darren Moore? We couldn't agree terms. That's it, right? I don't understand, like, why everything is such a personal attack. And I can't work out if it's a cultural thing. I can't work out if it's a pride thing, or is it the sycophants around him just not telling him to stop it off? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I should get it with you guys as well, especially, the other movie podcast that I do. When, when my other presenter, Ryan, chirps in on about stories of Skegness, I feel like I want to get an air horn And every time he chirps in mid-sentence while I'm saying something, just go, eh! That's what Trevor Braithwaite needs for one of those press conferences. Just a big air horn that goes, like, you know what I mean? But anyway.
Stop doing any press conferences now. I've never known anyone except maybe that Peterborough chairman do as many press conferences. Just stop.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it?
I love the idea.
He's got these so-called advisors, but who's the PR guy? Who's the guy that's like, screening this stuff and saying, they're going to ask you this, they're going to ask you that. Don't get too, het up about stuff. Just get a straight answer and move on. They'll try and tie you up in knots.
We ain't got a PR guy. He wanted 4 times as much.
Yeah, it must have been that. Why don't you get Braithwaite and Son doing it, for fuck's sake? Like, you know what I mean? He's in charge of that. But like, I like the thought process of, hey, listen, you lot are shit at this. I'll do it myself. I'll put myself out there. I'll do it myself. Like he's going to be great at it. Like he's going to be the man that's going to sort all this out.
I'll just say how it is. Just say how it is.
Say how it is. I'll tell him. I'll bloody tell him how it is because I'm the one with the bloody money. You can tell he's been surrounded by people who've not told him no. Right. Speaking of people who've not told him no, let's move on because Sheffield Wednesday announced today their next phasing of the season tickets. Another hot topic. Now, I'm going to try and bring balance to this conversation, which I'm very unhappy about. Don't get me wrong. Now, on one hand, we have a lot of teams in the Championship, Blair, that are struggling to fall within the lines of FFP, and maybe things are too cheap. Maybe £50 shirts are too cheap, and they should be £60, £65. Maybe. I mean, bear in mind, in 1992, they were 32 quid. So in terms of inflation, is that where they should be right now, 30 years later? I don't know. I'm just speculating. Now, we also know that the prices were relatively quite high, even when Milan Mandaric was in charge of the club. Has he just continued that trend, or has he piled on top? I know you've got a lot to say about it. Go on, Blair. I'm going to give you the floor. You've got a couple of minutes.
Okay. So, firstly, it is like outrageously expensive. Like everything else in this world at the moment. It's £2 for 6 eggs at the moment. It's like mental. The world's gone mental.
No idea.
But he don't do his own shopping, old fudge. He doesn't. But in football terms, the Premier League's parachute payments and the financial fair play rules that the EFL brought in, all the profit and sustainability rules, just don't work. It's like it's absolutely broken. So an average wage now of a Championship player is like 15 grand a week, and that's like a bang average player. Do you know that's for your Backinson? See what I mean? So
and Cameron Dawson's on twice that.
Yeah, well, not twice, but he's on a fair bit more, isn't he? North of 20. So you're looking at like every player in your squad will be earning, 700 grand to £2 million a year, which is just insane. You then compete, and then you're trying to compete with clubs who are going. So you all want the same player, and they'll go, yeah, but we can offer. They'll offer him 30 grand. So how much are you going to offer him? So that's what happened to us before. You've got fans saying, well, we're not going to the fans. So you've got West Brom, who are now absolutely bollocked because they failed to get promoted. They carried on paying players over £30,000 a week, and now they can't get. Now they can't shift them. I think they sold one for £7 million, which is going to help offset some costs in terms of like tickets. That's why their tickets are only £28 for the entire ground, whereas because they could put £7 million into their accounts. Whereas you look at what happened to. So the only reason I'm not overly like so disgruntled and disgusted by it and stuff is because of what happened 4 years ago. Chansiri came in. He brought established. He didn't buy any young players, did he? I mean, so the strategy was quite wrong, really. They only brought experienced, been there, done it players. Ross Wallace, Forestieri, I think he was like 25, 26. Gary Hooper. That was season 1. Then season 2, they didn't change the strategy. It was Jordan Rhodes. It was Alvin Aberdeen. So none of these players had sell on value. So you had to get promoted. And we didn't get promoted. And then by not getting promoted, we had to sort his books out, which we couldn't sort his books out because we didn't earn enough money to offsell the outgoings. And then, so he had to sell the ground to himself, which he can't do anymore. And then the punishment for these clubs who do fall foul of FFP is transfer embargoes. Every summer there's a transfer embargo and it's a soft embargo. You can only have loans and all this sort of shit. Can you remember? And then we got a points deduction eventually, which eventually led to our demise in League One. You look at Cardiff. Cardiff are currently operating in the same ilk now. They're in a transfer embargo and most likely had a points deduction last season. Most likely going to happen again next season. West Brom, I can imagine Stokes in a similar situation because the rules are so crap. Like a sponsor has to be, you can't like sponsor. So a sponsor has to be in sort of like, I think it's like 10% of your turnover or something like ridiculous like that. So it's to basically stop John West Tuna from sponsoring us for 200 million for 5 years. It's got to be like 700 grand a year or something. It's not a lot of money. And then you've got same with your naming rights for your stadium. You could sell your naming rights to the stadium, but again, it won't. It's got to be like within the rules, so you can't like be an overinflated price to stop that. And then when you compare that, and then you put that in. Transfer fees are inflated now as well compared to when they were 5 years ago. So when we got Forestieri for £3 million, Gary
sorry,
Newcombe
Blair,
for
did
£3
your
million
cat just walk across your keyboard then?
Yeah. So when you got Forestieri for £3 million, how much would he be in today's market if we brought him the same player, same age? Now,
Twice as much.
Yeah, but the threshold is still £30 million. You can still
this is my issue that the £30 million threshold hasn't gone up. Now, Hollie, do you feel as a long-time season ticket holder that given all that Blair's outlined there, that you're being charged for the shite storm that he did all those years ago when we paid for Premier League promotion and didn't get it?
Yeah, obviously, with the greatest respect, Blair, I don't give a crap about any of that stuff. It's not my fault that the players are wanting to be paid however much a week. I don't care about that stuff. I don't even really care if we're in Championship, if I'm honest. I don't really care at all. I just want to go and watch some footy. And I feel like what's a Category A ticket? Did we say 60 quid or something stupid? It's something ridiculous, isn't it? So if you're a family...
Southampton on the first game of the season is going to be Category D.
I think what they've done there is they've shit the pants because they've seen that we're going to be a Category A, wasn't it? And everyone's gone mental, so they thought, oh, shit, we'll just bump it down to Category
essentially,
D. That's what's happened.
If the team that's come down from the Premier League isn't Category A...
The first game of the season, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they've shit themselves, which maybe they'll realise and none of them will be Category A by the end of it, or they'll put one in there that no one gives a crap about. But I just think for a family to go 200 quid or whatever for 90 minutes when we're getting spanked by Preston or whatever, like it's not worth it, is it? But none of them can get a shirt because shirts are 60 odd quid. What, they're going to charge us a tenner for a burger or something now and all? Just why not?
But this is where it ties in, right? So, the league have got involved in terms of how much money you're allowed to charge for sponsorship. They've got involved in how much you're allowed to spend over a year. They've got involved on how much you're allowed to charge this and charge that. But they haven't got involved in how much they're charging the fans. And I think that's the bit that pisses me off. Like the EFL have clearly just gone, let's look at how to keep these clubs afloat, right? Let's have a look. Let's really keep an eye on that, on these clubs. But they haven't thought, let's keep an eye on the fans, because I think that this current pricing strategy is literally going to push kids to the other side of Sheffield, especially local kids.
Theirs is cheaper, but they've always done more concession tickets than us, and there's loads of people. I mean, it's a university city, so there's loads of people who travel up as young people and then decide what to do with the weekends, and that they're definitely not going to come to us. And as the season tickets gone up 300 quid to what they were last season, are we going to be 300 quid better? No. Are we?
No.
I just and like the club praised the fans for getting them over the line in that Peterborough game. If that Peterborough game had been a Category A and you'd have been paying 60 quid when we're 4-0 down, like you just wouldn't have done it, would you? And
you're dead right.
I feel like maybe like Blackpool fans didn't stand for it, did they? They just went to all the away games and stuff, and we're all right because we've got a season ticket. So I think a lot of people that are going, oh, just pay it, are all the people who have already got season tickets.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah, and the I'm all right, Jack, is it can get in the bin.
And there's a lot of people say like using it as a way to prove that you're worthy or that you're a die-hard fan. Oh, we'll just pay it. Like it's tin pot if you don't pay it. But there has to come a point when it's too much. Everyone's skint. And I don't like the thought of people who are skint can't do stuff that they enjoy because it's too much.
Yeah.
I think that's properly turd.
And that's why we're going to buy tickets and stuff like that, as part of our community foundation. But still, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to throw some more stats at you, H. So everybody likes using the South Stand as a barometer because that's our most expensive stand. So Category D, that's the 4th tier down Category D, on the South Stand is 47 quid, non-members, 42 quid. 4 members. Even 42 quid is really expensive. And what I did, I thought I'd take a look at how much it was at Southampton at home against the treble winning team Manchester City. 20 quid cheaper. It was £27 to get a ticket for Saints versus Man City last season when they played the title winning European Cup winning team. So, the question comes round again, doesn't it? Are you taking the piss?
Well, Newcastle's season tickets are cheaper than ours as well. I mean, they're probably up there in like the heavens above the clouds. And
they can afford to be cheaper. I wanted to use a team that still had to tie its purse strings together like Saints did. But Newcastle can afford to be cheap. I mean, what do you think, John? I mean, it's too dear, isn't it? I mean, before you take into consideration, like I've mentioned on this show before, that Sheffield is South Yorkshire specifically is it changed, by the way, after the stat that I released the other week. It's 36 out of 41 in terms of capita per person on average. So 36 out of 41, but we are paying top-end Premier League prices for our season ticket. Is it? Do I need to go down the capitalism rant again, or is it justified?
For me, it's not justified. And one of the things that really annoys me about it is that, and Hollie touched on it earlier, is we've got all that brilliant euphoria of that day at Wembley. And for me, I think it reconnected a lot of fans with the club. And imagine how many new fans we gained as well from that experience. It could have been, some of their first real memories of a bit of success for Wednesday. A young kid, wow, he'll remember that. He's just old enough to remember now that, when we took 50,000 down to Wembley and we managed to get ourselves back into the Championship. And it feels to me like he's killed all that reconnectivity with the fans and trying to get more fans in. And he's also quite hypocritical as well, because if you remember a few seasons back, he said that our money means nothing. He had a bit of a dig at the fans, saying our money means nothing. Well, if it don't mean anything, why are you putting it, trying to make us pay through the nose for season tickets and match day tickets and memberships? I think it's dead wrong, and the worry is that you would lose fans. Maybe you do lose fans to United. Maybe they just can only watch on TV for the highlights and stuff. And the last season, what got us over the line were the fans. The 4-0 down doesn't happen, like Hollie said before. The 4-0 comeback does not happen without a packed Hillsborough and us roaring them and sucking that ball into that net and pulling them over the line. You ain't going to get that if people can't afford, £60 a ticket. I mean, it's outrageous, really. And it's not even like, we've just signed, 6 players that are Championship quality and I might fire us back up, or done a Wolves and got a super agent in and we've signed Champions League Portuguese players and stuff. You know what I mean? we've re-signed 2 players that we had on books last season, and nothing since. So I think it's dead wrong, and I don't know what he thinks. Again, coming back to advisors, has he not been here long enough to know now that it's Hillsborough, not Beverly Hillsborough? Do you know what I mean? People aren't rich in these parts of the world. It's the working class city, and
okay,
that's all. Yeah.
Let me fire some information at you while Blair's cat has a meltdown in the background.
It's mine. That's Hollie's cat.
Oh, is it yours, Hollie? Does it need letting in or something? Is it like the cat from bloody Flintstones or something like that? Right. So the most expensive ticket in the ground is on the South Stand. Yeah. What are we up to now? It's about £800, isn't it? What is it?
900, isn't it?
Let me have a look. Right, South Stand adult, £825. Now, what John Gill did was go back in time to the 2014-2015 season, Wan Disco season, Mikhail Antonio, stuff like that. And the most expensive one then, when Mandarich was in charge, was £595 on the South Stand, 595. If you enter that into what's called the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, which essentially adjusts for inflation and whatnot like that, it comes out at £781.60. So it's even more expensive than inflation, but only by like 35 quid. So just like the shirts, just like the tickets on the match days, everything's got just a few quid chucked on it. And it's starting to really frustrate me. And all those people online that are sat there going, well, you should have paid it back in January. What if I didn't want to? Who the fuck are you?
Just after Christmas.
Do you know what I mean? just after Christmas, literally. And this is gonna make you laugh. Actually, there's a thing. I think I've said it before on this show. I work in the hospitality game, and February payday, the first payday weekend of February, the first weekend, is what's called a key date on the calendar. So our head office genuinely send us out stuff and content to put on that weekend because we know it's going to be a key date because people are skint in January. And like, you know, you've seen the memes. It's the 12,262nd of January and paydays in 3 to 7 months. You know what I mean? We've all seen them, right? So sitting there telling people online you should have bought it in January and to berate people who wanted to wait to see what league we were playing in, all irrelevant. It's all irrelevant.
Yeah, but
it's just too dear.
That makes it sound like you've got a parking fine. If you pay it early, you can get it for 30 quid, but if you don't, it's going up to 90.
But aside from the season tickets, I'm not a businessman at all, but 2 people buying a slightly cheaper ticket is better than 1 person buying an expensive ticket. So I don't understand why you wouldn't just want more people to come, because then more people, 2 people are going to buy 2 burgers and 2 pints or 6 cans, and they're going to spend more money. And then the shirts being a bit cheaper, then more people see the shirts about in the city of Sheffield and go, what's that?
When it comes to concessions like shirts, I completely agree with you. I think more people would buy them if they were cheaper. The issue, I think, is I don't know what that noise is. Does anybody keep hearing like a piano tinkle every now and again? Or is it just me? God, I don't know what's happening. I feel like it might be my headphones dying. So, it probably is that, actually. So, I've completely forgotten my point. So so if the shirts were cheaper, more people would buy the shirts. I believe that would happen. I agree with that. But I feel like if the season tickets are cheaper, I don't believe that we'd sell more. I think it's a nice idea. I think the potential to sell more is there, but I don't believe. I still think we would just get around 20,000 fans.
The Stars put out a thing today saying that we've surpassed last season's season ticket total.
That's because of Wembley, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't mean season tickets. I mean on the match pay on the gate prices. There's quite a lot of people that would go to 10 games a season. Well, 10 games a season when it's more than 50 quid per game, that comes to quite a lot. And in the women's supporters group chat, loads of people who have said they would normally go to 10 games and now only going to go to a couple because they can't afford that price, and they can't afford that price if they're going to take the kids as well.
I know, but we are fickle as people, though, because as soon as if we start doing well next season, attendances will be up.
You mean people like you who bought the season ticket on the back of that Peterborough game?
Yeah, but it will. People will turn up. If we somehow get playoffs next season, which will never happen, it will still sell out, even if it's category A.
Yeah, but no, I don't know about that. There comes a point where it is just too expensive, and no amount of we're playing well means that you've got enough money to just spend £100 on a match, on a football match. Yeah, you might spend whatever. You might push boat out to go to Wembley or to go to a specific away game, but the home games are your bread and butter, aren't they? That should just be a reasonable price to get people to go to as many games as they can. Because if you took your kids to 2 games in a season, or you took them to 10 games in a season, the more games they go to, the more games they want to go to. Well, I suppose it depends if we're really bad. And I genuinely don't care what league we're in. So I don't care if I'm not paying for us being in Championship. I'm just paying for whatever league it is. So I don't really care about pay twice as much and we'll spend it on players. I don't care really. We've seen some real. If I did, I wouldn't support Wednesday, would I?
No, that's fair. That's fair. Anyway, listen, this is a hot topic. Go on.
Yeah, I mean,
wrap it up for me, Blair. Wrap it up.
I was going to say, like, the transfers now need to be pretty good, don't they? Like, you've got to have some pretty good signings now to like encourage people to come and watch you.
I think it's just indictment of the time. I think everything's expensive. Everything is expensive.
Well, I went to the cinema the other week, and it was insane how much money I spent.
Oh God, who goes to cinema anymore? Everybody's been trying to, everybody's been dropping off them for years. Right, listen, let's move on. Let's put a pin in that. John, I can't believe people are turning their nose up at Troy Deeney. Come on, man, that's the right signing, isn't it?
Oof, that's a tricky one because what is he now? Is he 35? Thereabouts.
Shit, it's Troy Deeney.
It's Troy Deeney.
He talks about himself in the third person.
He does, and whenever I think of him, I can't help but think of that playoff game against Leicester. It was just immense. That was like one of their, like with our playoff, dream game. I think that was theirs, wasn't it? But I think Forestieri crossed the ball to him as well for that one. But yeah, he was a great player in his day. But the Tucking player coach, I think I heard as well.
Something like that.
New rumour. I don't know. Imagine you wanted to pay £60 a ticket to you signing Troy Deeney. I think there'll be a few upset fans, but I don't know. I'm on the fence with him a little bit. If he's probably not. I don't think he would ever lightning quick, would he? But he was a decent finisher. But I don't know at 35. But then again, the people want Vardy, isn't they? And he's probably older. So I don't know about that one.
Yeah, he's on 100 grand. He's on 120 grand a week as well. So
well, yeah, Vardy would have to take a massive pay cut, wouldn't it? Yeah, but yeah. Don't know about Troy Deeney. What do you think, Blair?
I mean, I did that Anakin Skywalker meme, didn't I? When he speaks to Padme, and he's coming as a coach, right? It's like he's coming as a coach, right? Because if our front line would be Smith at 31, Gregory 35, and Deeney at 35, like OAPs up front. I mean,
Holly, these two are on crack. Back me up. Troy Deeney's not a bad shout, is it?
Well, I really upset myself because I'm like, God, how old is he? And then I looked it up and he's younger than me. So that really upset me. But I think, did he only score 11 goals while he were at Birmingham? That's not many, is it?
11 in the Championship, though. I mean, bear in mind, we're not exactly blessed in terms of history books of players that have scored double figures in the second tier.
Well, Jordan Rhodes was the top scorer overall in the Championship until he came to us, wasn't he?
Yeah. Although when you think about it, right, Jordan Rhodes' career had already started to take a nosedive post Blackburn. There's a reason Middlesbrough sold him to us because they knew whatever he had gone, and then we got him and went, oh God, he's rubbish. What happened?
And now you're advocating for
getting Troy Deeney. I'm not talking about him again. Oh, no. Still hurts.
All right. Well, it looks like Troy Deeney might turn up in a player-coach role. If that happens, I don't think I've got a massive issue with it, and I quite like Troy Deeney.
Series following him, so it's confirmed.
Well, if that Chancery's followed him, you've heard it here last. All right, then. So, listen, we're 40 minutes in. We've not really got a lot to talk to. So, what we're going to do, we're going to bring back a popular feature from last season. John, it's quiz time. This is your big moment to shine. This is where you make us look like arseholes, because bear in mind, you know, I should have had a Barocca before we did this.
All right. No worries. So just get my wording right so that you understand it. So, So I think the Premier League started in 1992. So the inception of the Premier League until present day,
Football started in 1992. John, get it right.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you know that for many people that's the case, isn't it? But since 92 to present day, we've played 15 current or former Premier League teams that now have a new stadium. Can you name them?
So in the Championship now, or people?
We've played. So there's been 15 teams that have either are in the Premier League now or have been in the Premier League. So from
since 92
to present day, that we've played during that time. So between 92 to present day, that now have a new stadium. They're not playing that old stadium anymore.
All right. What order do you want to go in?
So on my screen, I'll go clockwise, which would be Dan, Hollie, and then Blair.
Right. Okay. So I can start with Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
Ting. You'll go, Hollie.
So Southampton are on there. The Dell, we last played in 2002 in the FA Cup and lost 3-1.
Man City.
Hollie.
Man City.
Man City are on there, Main Road. We played there in 2002 and lost 4-0.
Brighton, Hove Albion.
Near Dan's neck of the woods, that one, So Brighton was the Withdean Stadium, and we last played there in 2003, and it was a 1-1 draw.
Remember when that played? Leon Knight played for him. He was crap, wasn't he?
Leon Knight was my first celebrity blocking on Twitter. Right then, okay, so that's one apiece. Right, it's back down to me. Sunderland, Roker Park to Stadium of Light.
Sunderland are on the list. We last played at Roker Park in 1996, 1-1 draw.
Hollie.
Back to Hollie.
West Ham.
West Ham are on there. We played at the Boulogne Ground or Upton Park, whichever you fancy, back in 2000, and we won 2-1. Blair.
Middlesbrough.
Ah, you prick.
Middlesbrough on there. It was 1992 at Ayresome Park. We got a 1-1 draw. Back to Dan.
Derby County.
Derby's on there. We played at their old ground, which was the baseball ground in 1997. It was 2-2.
I'm too hungover for thinking. Huddersfield.
No. Huddersfield are not on the list. They'd time they'd done the McCain thing they're not. They're just not on the list. I googled it. They're not on the list.
They're just not there.
Didn't make it.
They're just not there. All right. Then,
I can't remember. They're not on it though. Unfortunately.
Ollie topside at 2. Get this one, Blair, to stay in the game.
Arsenal.
Of course, the old enemy, Arsenal. We last played at Highbury in the year 2000, drawing 3-3. It was the game that we went down, I believe, after being 3-1 up.
So John, just go through the criteria for me. We've played there in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Go on.
So the criteria is between 92 and present day, they've either been in the Premier League or they are currently in the Premier League, and we've played them between the years of 92 and present day, but they're now in a new stadium.
So if I say Tottenham, is that wrong?
No, Tottenham's right. We played at White Hart Lane back in the year 2000, winning 1-0.
Have that computer man. What else you got? Come on, computer man.
That was the last one I had. Oh, shit.
You'll kick yourself on some of them.
Let's go for... Oh, bastard. No!
Hollie, have some fluids, quick.
I'm melting.
This is an audio medium, so while Blair's thinking, Hollie's got a joke for you about a frog.
You can't just go about telling that joke. It's too funny.
I'm gonna tease that joke all season now, and you're gonna tell it at the end of the season, the frog joke, and it's just gonna be one of those things that just hangs there, and it's gonna be like, what about the frog joke? Tell me the frog joke, and people are gonna stop you at Hillsborough, and they're gonna come over and they're gonna go, what's this frog joke? And you won't be able to get through it.
It's all in the delivery.
Yeah, where you sit and piss yourself for 5 minutes.
Blair, gonna have to push it.
I think I'm gone.
Got a guess at all?
I was gonna say, it's not them. I can't even think of any new grounds now. No, I've gone. I can't even
guess. No, just guess somebody. Don't let him win by default.
That's gonna be my new thing. I'm calling win on that one, John, because he's took ages, and we even had a chat about a frog joke. Go on, tell us who the ones we've missed. Put some misery onto his plate. Go on.
Okay, the ones you missed were Bolton Wanderers.
Wigan.
Shit.
I don't know if that's
Burnden Park. We played back there in the League Cup in '93, drawing 1-1. Wimbledon.
Great one.
We played back at Selhurst because they weren't at Plough Lane by then, and that was in 2002, winning 3-0. The one I thought you'd get, Blair, is the team that will be playing next season after, also under Thai ownership, Leicester City.
Oh yeah.
Filbert Street, 1999, lost 3-0. The other ones are Coventry, Highfield Road. We played back there in 2004 in the League Cup, losing 1-0. Cardiff, Ninian Park, played back there in 2008, losing 2-0. And then another one I thought you might get, Blair, was the Brentford, Griffin Park.
Oh,
we won
in
their last season. I think we got hammered there 5-0 back in 2020.
Thank you, John. That was actually quite annoying to listen to, the fact that I topped out with Tottenham, and if he'd have got one right, I'd have been struggling. But listen, I'm gonna wrap it up there because it's a pre-season show, and this is just a pre-season friendly of a show. And Hollie looks like she needs to go for a nap. So thanks a lot for joining us. Buenas noches.